Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Welcome to the Sun, our Costa Blanca property podcast. As always, I'm joined by the two stars of the show, Lisa and Colin from Welcome Estates. Great to see you guys.
Hi.
We're going to do something slightly different today, and I've heard some good news. I've actually heard that you guys have done all the work today. So this is great news. So we're going to go through some success stories, and Welcome Estates. You know, you're hot at the minute, but this is looking back at some of the success stories you've had, some case studies, as it were, for various different properties. We're going to go into everything from the leads, the people who bought the properties, the transactions, the process, and everything. So it's going to be interesting and something slightly different. So shall we get into it, guys? Shall we get into it and look at our first case study?
Yeah, just to give you a bit of an insight, Akib, just before we start on the properties. So all of these properties have been sold via us to our customers in the past 3 months. So what we wanted to do is just show people at the minute how hot the property market is and what sort of offers are going in and who's buying, just so people can see the market as it is. Because people watch lots of programs, don't they, like A Place in the Sun and Sunsea and Selling Houses, I think is the other one. And it's really hard to gauge what it's like here at the moment with the property market. So we thought the best way is to show people what's selling.
Great idea. Great idea. Yeah, it gives people a bit of a sense of the realism as well behind. You know, they're not just stories; these are real case studies. So
this first one was sold by yours truly, Colin Robson.
It was indeed, yeah. So a little bit of backstory. So we have quite an interesting client, and I would say that they're a unique client who have ultimately turned friends of the company. And this is a company based in Scotland who actually are a very large, successful competition company. So what their day-to-day business is they have a huge website, a huge following, who basically pay money to enter competitions to win things like Rolex watches, cars, houses in Scotland. And now they've actually increased that to houses in Spain. So this is actually the second property that they purchased. The first property purchase was in around autumn last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they raffled that, and they basically offered the property or £250,000 in cash. So the lucky winner came over. He actually bought one ticket, would you believe, for £10. Won a property worth nearly €400,000 at the time, and decided to take £250,000 in cash. So we got involved in the celebrity, holding of the check and everything. So this is basically what this company do. They've subsequently kept that property for themselves. So this is brand new to them now. They'll literally complete on this property within the next 10 days. And within the October, November, that will be open to the general public as a competition. So some lucky winner somewhere through this company can actually win their very own villa in Spain.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember you telling me about these guys. Were you the celebrity, by the way?
Of course.
Thought so.
All right. Did you need to ask?
No, I didn't need to ask. I already knew. But it's great. It's great, isn't it, that somebody can actually win a property like this from a competition? That is a serious prize.
You actually met them, Aki. I'm sure you were at a Manchester Place in the Sun when they came.
Yeah, I did actually meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Fantastic.
So what was the numbers roughly on this one then, Lisa? What was the
So this one was
all the money side?
Yeah, it was up on the market for €449,000. It's obviously, you can see it's a beautiful detached 3-bedroom. Is it 3-bedroom, 4 bathrooms? These
3 bed, 3 bath.
3 bed,
3.5 bath.
Yeah. How old was it? Do you remember how old it was? I think
literally like 2 years old. Literally, the last model only got sold about 18 months ago. So 2 years old.
This is a new resale. It is a resale. It's not. They've not bought it off the builder. They bought it off an owner who bought it about 2 years ago. And to give you a bit of background on the sellers as well, the sellers were moving to another property. Again on the Finca, I think it was lower level, just one level. That's why they
one level property, yeah.
Yeah, and then these have bought this. And if I remember rightly, we'd only had it on the market a few weeks when it was sold.
It was actually the very first viewing we did on it.
Yeah, I think it was the first viewing, and they negotiated around, I think it was around about 4% discount. Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised it went quickly. It's beautiful. As turnkey properties go, it's absolutely perfect for someone who wants to just move in, isn't it? But our second one is actually completely different, because these are buyers who are looking for more of a rural lifestyle, even though it looks really modern there, but it was slightly different. So do you want to tell us about this beautiful villa in Pinoso in Alicante?
These are ones we talk about, don't we, Colin, quite a bit in regards to price versus area and location. So this is a lovely new build property, which is still 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom, but the actual sale price for this was €280,000. So for a new build, that is, apartments are going at 280, and that is down to the location. And the buyers for this one was actually from Belgium. It was a Belgian buyer, which we're seeing more and more of the Belgium and Dutch and Scandinavian market wanting more remote properties.
Yeah, you've mentioned you have a lot of business from that region as well. But why do you think that is? Why actually is that? Because even when I was there visiting last, there was lots of Belgian, Dutch, etc., Scandinavian people buying.
Because it's cold there, Aki. And anywhere that's cold, come to Spain.
It's got very similar climates to the UK, and most people dream of being in the sun. But also from a numbers point of view, property price in those countries, just like in the UK, have soared quite high over the past few years, which has given people equity in properties, and they've decided, rightly so, and I don't blame anyone who does it, they've decided to invest that money into their property in the sun, really, rather than reinvesting it into the cold weather. They've reinvested it into Spain instead.
I nearly swung the camera around to show you the rain outside of the window, but I've not cleaned the sink. So
don't say that. We're coming to Birmingham on Thursday. Have I not got to bring my sunglasses and flip-flops?
Yeah, I know, but then you're only coming for a short visit, and then we're back in the sun, and I'm coming with you, so I'm looking forward to that. So do you want to give us the particulars, the price for this, the particulars on the prices?
So this one was sold at 280,000. It's a new build, so there isn't any negotiation in a new build. The price is set, the builder's set it, and that's the price. The interesting thing about this is that we only met these clients, or we only began communication with these clients about 4 weeks before they purchased this property. So we spoke to them when they weren't in Spain, found out a bit of what they was looking for, where they wanted to be, what sort of price bracket they wanted to be in, and they came over and seen numerous properties, but on the first trip they found what they wanted. Perfect.
And I like the themes here. So our third property, again, it's something different. It's something completely different, because the third property is a top floor apartment, La Finca Golf Resort, which is just, we all love, and it's more of somebody trying to invest / someone who wants a holiday buyer. They're not going to be there all year round. So do you want to just tell us about this type of buyer as well?
I don't get out much, Colin, do I? Obviously, I'm in the office a lot, so I don't go into properties. But from what I was told, the views from this apartment were absolutely stunning.
Incredible. I mean, it's one of the nicest solariums that I think I've probably been on. Certainly at a property that's at that price point. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was it a Dutch family who purchased this, Lisa?
Yep, it was up on the market for just shy of €220,000.
Yeah, and I don't think it went for much less than that, did it?
No, it was around. We kept, as much as we'd like to, we can't divulge the exact price that it went to. So the way that I've done it is that, just to give you an idea, this one, the offer that was accepted was within 5% of the asking price.
Yeah. So
but I like the gossip though, so I like to know the figures. But you keep
we might get in trouble for that.
Okay, fine. I'll keep trying, guys. Anyway, but this also shows you've mentioned. I want to pick up on something you mentioned on the previous slide. You mentioned that about negotiation. You can't negotiate for certain properties, and you can for others. Will you just touch a little bit more on that, please?
Yeah, this is the most common, or one of the most common discussions we have with our clients when they get to that stage. And unfortunately, some of the TV programs that people watch. We won't name any names, but they have it in their head that they can just, come in at any price. And maybe in some areas you can, maybe in properties that have maybe been on the market an awful long time and haven't got an awful lot going for them. But what you have to bear in mind, it all comes down to this supply and demand. And there's not a lot of supply and there's a huge demand because prices are going up, quite steeply in a lot of areas. So we tend to find the properties we sell, and we've sold an awful lot, probably over the last 18 months, we've sold actually a good number of properties at full asking price, which I believe is the norm, if not sometimes higher in the UK, offers above.
Definitely, yeah.
Certainly, if it's not asking price, I would say 90% of the time it'll be within 5% of asking price. And that's because when somebody comes here and they've got a tick list of right property in the right area with the right amenities, traveling distance from airport, etc., all of these things come with a premium attached to them. And it's like anything, if you want those things, you've got to be prepared to pay for them. So generally speaking, we don't get much negotiation range, much more than 5% in the vast majority of cases. Would you add anything to that, Lisa?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I just think that the time has changed and the market has changed, where in the past properties may have been on the market for a bit longer, and that opened negotiations because it was more of a buyer's market, where I think it's turned around because product is low. It's turned around more into a seller's market, which means that they don't need to take the lower offers because there's a queue of people waiting to purchase most of the properties, to be honest.
What I do see, Aki, and this has happened today, we've had a client who's reserved a property today through another agency partner of ours, and what I am seeing happening, vendors are putting the property on a market, and sometimes we have very little sway over what somebody wants for a property. So if somebody wants quite a high level, you will find some other agents are actually valuing properties over what they're actually valued at, and they won't sell at that. They'll eventually find their own way in the market and sell for what they're actually worth.
Always a good question, that though, isn't it? To be honest, it's a good question for buyers to ask. How long has it been on the market? Because that'll give you an idea. For us to sell a property in a matter of days can be quite difficult. The reason why is because most people seeing it are not physically on the ground in Spain at this moment in time. Some properties come up at the right time when someone's planned the visit. Absolutely brilliant. Some properties come up, like we've just got an apartment up at the moment for €100,000. The leads on that property are unbelievable. Me and Colin have not slept all weekend, literally. I was putting my makeup on yesterday to go and watch the Manchester United match, and my WhatsApp's still going with people inquiring about this apartment but that's the sort of property that'll get bought remotely. People want it to, because anybody who is in England or in another country who wants that property have not got the time to book flights, to come over, to view that property, to reserve it. It will just be bought. Unless someone is lucky enough to be here in Spain at the moment, they won't have time to do that. And the chances are, if they book the flights for next week, they'll come over, it'll be sold, and we'll have nothing else in that price bracket to sell them.
Yeah. Right. Okay. No, great. I mean, it's interesting to see the different types of properties as well. And the next one is someone which will appeal to families. Okay, so this is an affordable option for families who may want community living, and I'm assuming you'll have quite a big demographic of people which fit into this section. So tell us about this townhouse in Montemar in Algorfa.
I think this is another one of your sales, is it not, Colin?
It is. It's an immaculate one as well.
Let me test you. Do you remember what it was up for sale for?
Of course I do.
Go on.
172,500.
There we go.
Colin's ranking the commission in today, I'll tell you now.
What did you get for it?
I think that one would have went within 0.01% of asking price without divulging the figure.
Yeah, but there's not a percent to put on that one. That one went at full asking price.
Yeah.
I think we can say that because it's full asking price. It was gone within a matter of weeks. This property.
Yeah.
So tell us about the types of family that will approach you for something like that. Well, tell us about the family who actually approached you for this property, then, please.
Well, this is a family from Ireland. So their long-term view is to move across. The sellers of this are moving to a more country location in Murcia. They've lived there for 7 years, done a lot of work to it. It is beautiful inside. There's nothing to do to it. You literally just drop your bags in. And it's interesting for that kind of price now, you know, we're selling new build apartments at €300,000. It's sometimes like shelling peas. So to be able to buy a family home for 172, €1,500 with 3-bed and 2-bath in a good location, walking distance to amenities is pretty good going.
Very good going, yeah. Is there a lot of competition for properties like this? I know there's competition for everything, but do you get families who are this type of property goes like hotcakes, or is there bidding wars? How does it work?
Yeah, this is a great advert for people who we talk to people all the time who aren't here. So, we're on the phone constantly to people who are in the UK, Ireland, wherever they are, Norwegian, Dutch, Belgian. And some people say, yeah, I'm waiting to find the right one online before I commit to come over. That strategy never works. You'll be looking forever. And you'll be looking forever because the camera sometimes tells lies. And in fairness, if you just keep looking on the internet without committing to coming over, the chances are, if you're looking at a certain price point anyway, you're going to book your flights and it's going to be sold before you even get here. So then what do? The best thing to do, if you're actually serious about buying and not just browsing, is to get on a flight, let us find the property for you, and we'll put a selection together. But we get that all the time of, I'm waiting to find the right one online. It's an impossible task. If you love browsing, please continue doing that. If you want to buy something, it's not the way to go.
Okay. All right. Duly noted. And staying with the family theme, the next property is bigger, I believe. Well, no, it's still 3-bed, 2-bath, but it's an underbuild. So talk about this as well, this underbuild, because we did actually do a viewer property.
Yeah,
it's a big property, this.
Yeah, it was a big property. This is a real family home, really, on the Finca, which is unusual because a lot of them are more holiday home sizes. Where this was a great one. It was a family who lived there with children, and again they're selling to move somewhere else in Spain, which is closer to their children's school. But the person who, again, and Colin, I think you sold this one. Over to you.
Well. Yeah, this is actually a couple from Ireland, so Irish passports, and they're actually relocating here full time. So we haven't had to go through the rigmarole of visas and everything. It's been quite an easy pathway. They've then found this property actually through a collaborating agent partner of ours, and absolutely fell in love with it. You rarely see. Actually, it was quite lovely because you rarely see the reaction that we got off. It was actually the guy who was much more emotional about it than the lady, which I rarely see, to be fair. So yeah, they'll be completing within the next month, and they're coming to live in Spain full time. So it's not too far from your house, that, Lisa. So you've probably got yourself a nice set of new neighbours.
It was up for 359, I believe, that one.
Okay.
And again, it went really close to asking price. There was only 2% in that one. So anybody who sat there with a calculator at home,
you do the maths.
you can see what. Yeah, but it was also, if I remember rightly, it was a race for this property.
It was, without
there was two interested parties, and very interested parties, but it was the first person to commit to the deposit, really.
Okay, so you don't do you do seal bids in Spain? I know we have that out here. You don't do that, right?
Tend not to. I've seen it once or twice, but it's not that common. That's a really good point, though. So on this, there were two runners in the race, and in Spain, it's the first person who pays the deposit.
which makes a lot of sense, in all honesty, doesn't it?
Whereas if that had have happened in the UK, you know, they'd have accepted the first offer and it would have gone on for however long, but it's the first person to commit to actually paying the deposit.
There was actually a bit of time in between the offers going in. The first person put an offer in and their offer was accepted. And this is what we talk to people about time and time again. It's been in that position to lose out on a house that you fall in love with is something which takes a little bit of getting over, to be honest. But what we try and say to people is preparation. Be ready before viewing to be able to move forward. So they came up, the other clients had put an offer in on the property, and there was just some still questions in regards to financing, and they needed a little bit of time to sort that out. Understandably, until they got them answers, they were not willing to commit to putting a deposit down, because if it fell through, they lose the deposit. But in the meantime, somebody else came in who was ready to go, put an offer in, got accepted, and they paid the deposit straight away. So the first person sadly lost out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that actually, and worth exploring, because the general rule of thumb I understand in the UK is people can quite happily go and view houses, put offers in them, and then contact the mortgage company for a decision in principle after they've made the offer. Now, the reason you can do that in the UK is because you don't have to part with any money at offer stage. Whereas in Spain, to secure that property, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. Now, in this example, the person's had to part with 12,000 euros to secure this property. Now, this is why we always have the conversation, and we see it happen time and time and time again, where people say, I'm coming to Spain, and then we ask them about the finances, which we have to. It's sometimes a vulgar question, but we need to know what position people are in. And people who need a mortgage have not done any of the groundwork beforehand. But you have to have done that groundwork, because if you do the groundwork afterwards, somebody could steal in and steal that property from under your feet whilst you're trying to get the answers from a mortgage broker. Because that can possibly take a week to turn around, depending on how quick you can provide the information. So if you're serious about buying and you need a mortgage, we say to everybody time and time and time again, get that decision in place first. Let them tell you what your limits are and what you can go up to, so then you can actually come and view property under no pressure, knowing what you can afford.
You've heard it, guys. Colin has given you the black and white there, right? Put your money where your mouth is. But on a serious note, obviously it's important, because you don't want to miss out on your dream property, do you, by just not being quick on the draw?
Or lose money.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to lose money, and we would never advocate to anybody to put themselves at risk. We wouldn't do that. It doesn't make it doesn't help us, it doesn't help them. I know people can be pressurized into sales, but at the end of the day, for a sale to go through, it's not just about the deposit, is it? You have to have the funds to do it. So people losing the deposits to us is just a very sad situation that we don't really want to ever happen to anybody, because the sale has been lost. The seller hasn't sold the house, and the buyer loses a property.
Sorry, Lisa.
That's okay. But we also time and time again, it's really sad, and we get there in the end. But we've just had another client out this month, out with Lana, and they're really, really nice, and they fell in love with a property, but they're not able to, because of their situation back in England, they're not able to move forward. And it's just sometimes about wrong timing with viewings, and that can make a really, really sad roller coaster for people at sometimes, because they get disheartened, of course, because they found the dream property, they want it, but they can't move forward, and then they end up losing that property. And then it's always a comparison then going forward, where if they would have viewed at the right time and that property wasn't there to be viewed, then they would never have seen that.
Yeah, we get emails from developers on a probably not a daily basis, but a number of weeks, saying villa number 12 in this development is back on the market. Back on the market means one thing, Aki. They paid the deposit and didn't get the mortgage.
Yeah.
And it's happening left,
paid,
right, and center.
A big one at the minute is they're waiting to sell in the UK and they haven't exchanged. So they've got a seller. Sorry, they've got a buyer for their property in the UK. They are all the way down, but in England they have chains. It doesn't take much for somewhere on the chain to break down. They don't, even though they're supposed to be exchanging in a week or so's time, something falls through, and then they end up losing the deposit.
Yeah, buying and selling in England is one of the most stressful things.
Yeah.
So, I'm loving hearing these stories of you guys saying we met them 4 weeks out. We did, it sounds very streamlined and much less red tape, really. Our next property, I love this. It's called a lovely villa in Benijofar. So,
And it is.
Tell us about this lovely villa.
Yeah. Benijofar is a very popular upcoming area. A celebrity that some of us may know, but do you know what I mean? No, not Colin. No.
Right.
It is my manor, though, Aki. It is my manor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on, give us a clue.
She's off a program. She's now more of an influencer. Do you ever remember
Geordie Shore?
Geordie Shore?
Yeah, not Charlotte.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've actually met Charlotte, believe it or not. Yeah, at the boxing,
I've seen lots of her Instagram, and I recognise the villa and the area and everything. But it's a really popular area, really popular.
Okay. Now, this looks expensive, this property. I mean, I'm only basing it on the pictures, but tell us about this then.
What do you think it would be worth, Aki? Come on, give us a guess.
I mean, I'm just looking at the particulars here. Village charm, proximity to Guadamar Beach. I'm basing it on what you said of the last property as well. I'm guessing at between 350 and 4, something like that.
Oh, what a boy. When can you start?
Yeah, you'd be good at our job.
Yeah, I used to do it in London, and I used to enjoy valuing properties, but how close am I then? Don't say within 5%, please.
You was bang on, 397, so just shy of 400,000.
Yeah, you can see why it looks great.
Yeah, 3-bedroom, private pool in a really good area, which is walking distance to bars and restaurants. We go down to that. It's only about 10-minute drive from us. Where we go. Our favourite Indian was there at one point, was it not, Colin?
It was, sadly, but those are just mere distant memories now, Lisa. We can't. You've been to it, Aki. It's where a certain person tried to set fire to your elbow. You've been to India.
Well, that was I remember that day, but I also remember very good food as well at that Indian place.
Yeah, it's got a really good selection of bars and restaurants there. The interesting thing about the people that bought this property, they were from the UK, and we first met them back in 2022 at one of our Place in the Sun shows. Okay,
and they bought through that interaction, meeting you there, and then the process started there, basically.
I think what happened in this situation is that they met us and lots of people in 2022, like you do. They were looking for I have to be very careful what I say now, because I'm really don't want to call other people, but just sort of like how we are a bit different to our agents. So because this was a new build and they was looking for a new build, I believe they went to what they seen was more of a new build specialist. Would you say that, Colin? A company, so they went out with them in the mean.
Perception wise, possibly.
Yeah. From a perception point of view, we do both. And some companies just do new builds. So if you get in your mind you want a new build, that's where some people go. And they have been out and with them and hadn't been shown what they was asked for, really. And then they came back over to us, which was great because they'd been on a trip, they hadn't found out what they wanted, they came in contact with us, and then I believe these came out on an inspection trip as well. I think, don't hold me to that, but I think they then came back out with us and did one of our inspection trips, and on the first trip out with us, found this little beauty.
And how quick was the process from them seeing that property on the viewing trip to putting in an offer and securing the part and paying the deposit?
24 hours.
While he was still here in Spain. Yep.
That's how quick you got to move, especially if you're doing a viewing trip. And if you do want a viewing trip, please make sure you go and have a look at www.estates.com. And also on the YouTube channel, because there is some videos specifically about the the Welcome Estates visitors package, so to speak, the viewing trips.
I'll just tell you a little story on that one, Aki, which same developer on their previous development. I took in a client autumn last year, and they had one property left, which was next to the show house. Clients loved it, fell in love with it. Lady started crying emotionally. We knew they'd found the house of the dreams. There was literally a queue of agents behind us and agents on the phone trying to secure the property. As soon as I sat them down in the chair, the developer said, sit in that chair, I'll take your reservation deposit. And literally there was people queuing up behind us to reserve the property. I've seen nothing like it in my life. If I tell the story, people don't believe it, but I could literally get the clients on here now. They were shocked.
Yeah.
The phone was ringing. There was people saying, you know, them people I had here yesterday, they want to buy it now. She's going, because she's from Germany. Too late, it's sold. She'd literally just took the car.
Was that your German?
Yeah, it sounded something off Austin Powers movie, that didn't it?
Don't get me wrong.
Geordie Shore, to be honest.
That doesn't happen all the time.
Doesn't.
It doesn't. But there was another instance. I remember another instance with somebody on an inspection trip, and it happened on the Finca, and the same thing happened. They was out on day one.
That was to me as well. They went to the beach, didn't they?
Yeah, and that went. Yeah. So the thing is that we can never predict who's going to walk in and view that property. You can imagine there's tens of thousands of people out here all the time viewing properties with so many different agents all up and down taken in. So we have got no control over a lot of properties, and we don't know who's interested and who's not. We hear quite a lot. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And then when it happens, obviously there's a lot of disappointment, and I think it's because people obviously assume that agents are here to pressurize people, and we're not. We just want them to get the right property at that moment in time, what they're looking for, because it's really hard to go back and find something when the emotions that Colin's just said, when somebody gets that feeling and this is for them, and then it's suddenly gone. How hard is it from there, Colin, to move forward?
They would have been absolutely crushed. And it was funny, the developer, because like I say, it's the same lady who sold this property as well. She came in the office and she said, she named the client, and she's, oh yeah, they're out all the time. Wait, every time they see me pass, the wave and asking me how the family are and everything. So yeah, it's a great advert. You know, these people do genuinely keep in touch and are grateful for what happened as well.
This was another UK buyer, another relocation, and since 2022, they've got themselves in a position. This is what we say to people at the shows. Doesn't matter if you're buying this year, in 12 months, in 2 years' time, because everyone's got that process to make it happen. They've obviously, I would assume, I don't know this, retired in the UK. They've definitely sold and exchanged, and they was in a position when they came out then to get what they wanted.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mean that's a good advert for, because well, I mean we're just about to, in the next 3 or 4 days, when we head off to Birmingham, which I'll sure we'll mention in a little while, we'll speak to hundreds of people who want to relocate to Spain. This is a great advert. It can happen if you want it to, and you get put on the correct pathway. The thing is with property is the last piece of the jigsaw when you relocate, and there's so much work to do, and an agent can help you get put on that right pathway. So we have people at every stage of the pathway. We have hundreds of people looking to relocate. Some are at the point where they're lucky enough they've just done what this couple did. Some are right at the start where, you know, they're 2 years out because they haven't retired yet. But everybody's on that same path. We've just got hundreds of people at different points. But don't give up, because it will happen if you want it to.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is we better move on from this, because this roller coaster. This is an emotional one. This one. So let's move on to the next one. Now, the next one is a bungalow in La Finca. It's next to or near the Golf and Spa Resort. Now, when the word bungalow is mentioned, what are we talking about in Spain when we say bungalow?
Confuses
me. It's always confusing. A bungalow can either be a bungalow as you and I would understand it, Aki, or most bungalows in Spain are an apartment, but an apartment where there's only a ground floor and a top floor. Whereas if you were in a block of flats that had, say, 17 floors, like you're in Benidorm or somewhere, that would be known as an apartment. If it's just top and bottom, the Spanish refer to it as a bungalow. We still call it an apartment, to be fair, though, don't we?
Yeah. This is an apartment, this one.
Correct.
So this is a new build apartment. This is probably our hottest property of 2025, without a doubt. This one was sold in September. That's why it's got on this list today. But we've sold three of these over the past few months.
Yeah. Lisa's had to go for a casting. They're putting a gold statue over up outside the development.
Because it's unusual for people to say, because obviously there's so many developments, but this one is just absolutely brilliant. I think they start around 260.
Yeah.
For a 2-bedroom. There's a 3. We've even just had one client who reserved a 2-bedroom, came back, and they've just upgraded to a 3-bedroom in this development. But the great thing about it is it's in a brilliant location. It's right near the golf course. It's near the bars and restaurant. It is what is unusual, fully furnished, all white goods, all air conditioning. Is there an element of outside furniture? I don't want to be quoted on that, but
it'll be in the pack. But I mean, like you say, you just drop your bags, don't you? There's nothing
literally,
to do.
That's it. Suitcase and you're done.
I think on the trip coming up that Chris and I are visiting you next week or the week after is it's next week, isn't it? I think we need to drop into some properties like this, because these seems to be the one. Every time I come and see, they're going like hotcakes. They're just there. They're in that prime location.
I don't think the show house is ready for this yet, is it, Colin?
The show house isn't ready until next month. They've already sold over half.
Without a show house.
They've sold over half without a show home.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we went to visit, I think it was called Santa Rosalia. There was you had to use some imagination, but since then, I believe you mentioned that most of it gets sold off plan, and they're not disappointed, are they? Because
I would say historically, most of the time they'd be a show house ready. It's a bit different at the minute because the market's so busy, and with this one, it's just absolutely flew off. It just flew off the shelf, literally. So most of the time they're just show house. But what companies like this do, which is really good, is that they're not first-time builders. They have developments in lots of areas where you can go and see their finished product. So with a little bit of help, you can envisage exactly what you're buying. They'll take you somewhere to see the finish and the decor.
Yeah, kitchens, bathrooms.
Yeah, but this one again, there's no negotiation. It's a new build. This was a Polish client who bought this one.
A couple? Or was it a couple?
No, I don't believe it was a couple.
Okay.
I believe it was somebody. It was somebody on their own bought this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's interesting in itself, because I would look at this property and think that's perfect for a couple. But you're getting people who come out and just move out on their own and buy a property.
And I think families that are coming over to relocate don't tend to settle in an apartment. They don't. No. It's more townhouse, villas above. But if you're coming over on your own, apartments are very popular, because if there's one person in a 2-bedroom apartment, then there's ample. Yeah. But I would say most apartments like this, if it's for a couple or a family, tend to be more holiday homes rather than somebody coming for permanent living. Something we always tell people to think about as well, because if you didn't live in an apartment in full time in the UK, are you really going to enjoy living in an apartment in Spain if it's your full time living? So these are the sort of conversations that we have with people before you come out.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. And I believe I think the next one is our last one, but I could be mistaken. We'll find out very shortly. But this townhouse looks great. It's 3 beds, 2 baths. Really good value. I mean, you guys can talk more about that, but it's it's what's coming up here in the notes, that this is a very good value property, and it's only a short walk to shops and restaurants. So what makes this, or what made this, a good value proposition for the people who bought it?
I was amazed by this property when I seen it on the video. It's on a corner plot. This picture doesn't give you any obviously idea. But this was just an illustration. It wasn't for you to view the property. The property's been reserved and sold now. But it had a massive corner plot. The people who bought it are actually relocating. It was 3 bedrooms. the people who bought it, again, they were from the UK.
With Irish passport though, didn't they?
Irish,
UK with an Irish passport, yeah.
Irish pass. I was just thinking that I'm sure they were from the UK, but you're right.
Yeah,
That's where they had an Irish passport. They part of what they do is she's an artist, and she does lots of. You might not know this, Colin, but I was speaking to him in the office, and she does lots of like artwork and sells it, and she does like glass paintings. She showed myself and my son them on a phone, because my little one Tommy is quite artistic. Do you know, like the picture? Do you know, like when you go into the church and you've got like glass with all different colours and the light comes through?
Glass windows.
Yeah, so she creates things like that for windows at home, and it was really pretty. But sorry, I'm going on with myself now. But this property was perfect with her because she needed the right lighting and the right size. So it's a really good sized property, and it was on the market for €220,000.
Oh, okay. So when you say good value, I understand that, because I thought that would have been more. So that really. So why was this one less than what you may expect? Was it because of the seller situation? Is it location? Is it because it needed stuff to work on it? Why?
Complete postcode related. Everywhere in Spain is exactly the same as the UK. It's to do with the postcode. But somewhere like Montemar is like a little bit of a hidden gem. Would you agree, Colin?
Yeah.
It's one of those areas.
Very good value for money.
Yeah, it's really, because it's so, for example, now I'm sat in my office on La Finca. Okay, La Finca is a 5-star resort. So the prices on this resort are higher than some. Just like in England, you've got more desirable areas. But Montemar is as close for me. If I was to get out of my chair now and walk to my house on La Finca or that house on Montemar, that could be slightly closer.
Yeah. You know, we've seen a different levels of people who invest in Spain, buy in Spain, and what's coming across is that there's not one category of people, is there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at any life stage, you've got properties for that type of person or people, haven't you? Yeah. And you know, the process as well, it just seems so much simpler than England, which takes a lot of the stress away. But one thing I want to point out is you guys, from the beginning to the end, you actually do the whole process for the client.
Yeah, so to give you an example, today clients reserved a property listed at €500,000, had their offer accepted, drove them to the notary, met the lawyer at the notary, put a power of attorney in place where that gives their lawyer the right to do everything for them legally. They won't be coming back now until the end of November, December. The property will have been completed then. They don't have to do anything else other than part with some money when they need to at certain points, which will be advised. So they've got to do nothing else now. Everything is just taken off their plate because they've got a power of attorney in place to do absolutely everything on their behalf. And it was done within an hour of their offer being accepted.
He's also underselling what Colin does here. So we have time and time again people walk into our office. They've been in Spain for 3-4 days. They've been out with loads of different agents. They've seen a million different properties. They've never found what they want, and they've gone and seen and they're going home, and it's like, it's really hard for us to do what we do now, because it's not a case of just going into a door, open the keys and going, voila, here's your future home. How much work so they only came out on Friday, these clients. How much work had you put in, and how much communication have you had with those clients to be able to pick them? Well, no, it was a bit delayed, weren't they? So half your day got cut on Friday because they didn't come into Alicante till Friday.
We only started viewing at 3:00 on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And by Monday morning, they hadn't been out over the weekend either. By Monday afternoon, they'd reserved a property and got the power of attorney in place. But yeah, what Lisa's saying is it is understating what we do. There's a massive amount of work goes into sourcing those properties, and really the key to my job is trying to get inside someone's head to really try and understand what they want. And that's the missing ingredient for a lot of people who've been out with many other agents and walked into our office madly frustrated because all they've been doing is they've just been walked from property to property to property in the hope that one of the arrows sticks in the board. Whereas if we really understand what it is you want and really try and understand what's in your head, it'll give me a far better chance of actually finding what you actually want. Interestingly as well, if that doesn't exist in your price bracket for what you want, we will let you know and look at other funding options for you as well. So we're not actually wasting your time looking at stuff you don't really want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's why you need to come with Welcome Estates. Yeah.
And that leads on to exactly what happened to the guys who bought this villa a week or so ago.
Okay. Tell us about this. Tell us about this one then. Yeah.
So this was a similar situation where I believe we'd met them a while ago.
A couple of years ago, at least.
Yeah, I think we'd met them a while ago, and they'd been out with other people. They'd been out with other people who they'd given them the budget that they wanted to spend, and the other agents had sort of said, "Okay, come out, we'll show you properties." But what I feel where it fell down with these guys is, from what I can see, is that the pre-work, yes, was great, but what they hadn't really understood is what they wanted. They had a price and they worked with that price, but hadn't really, and it took them getting on the ground in Spain to go, none of these are what we wanted. And the truth is, if you've got to increase your budget. If you want what you want, you've got to go higher with price. But by that point, they'd got the feet on the ground, and in a way, it was too late then to look at options for financing. So then again, they were somebody who'd then gone home disappointed because they'd come all the way to Spain and they'd viewed properties that none of them really ticked. Where our team here would know that before you came to Spain, they would say, if you want what you're telling me, you need to increase your budget to this, or we have to look at we have to take some things away from that wish list because we can't fit both together.
This reminds me of the property that we actually did a video on. Actually, we did a video on a property similar to this. These have got a great location. They've got brilliant views, a lot of them, and you know they must have just fallen in love with this one.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, literally, it just said that as soon as they walked in, they knew.
Yeah. And I think I might have got mixed up between this one and the one before. I think it was this one that was the inspection trip.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I think that these guys came out and stayed in our apartment, and they was out with Lana, and I believe from what I know, it was one of the first properties that they walked into.
I think it was the very first.
I wanted to say that, but I wasn't 100%. But I think it could have been the first property, and then they went back and seen some others, and it was a case of, no, this is the property. This is a property that we want, and they reserved it while he was here. The property was up on the market and the reason we're telling you prices is, again, it's just for people to understand. This property had been on the market for 3 days. This is one of those situations where when they planned their trip over, this property was not on the market. So it wasn't a case of, oh, they've seen that property. Like lots of people say to us, like Colin said, when the right property comes up, we knew what they wanted. We knew what they was looking for. So by the time they came over for the trip and that had come on the market, it was obviously on our list of properties to see.
Yeah, well, that's the reason we're doing this, is to show, 9 properties now we've shown you. And they're all success stories, not just from your point of view, but from the client's point of view. They're success stories, but it also highlights the different types of people that want to buy. It also highlights the process, how quickly you have to move. And these aren't imaginary transactions that are happening. These are all real life case studies. So the proof's in the pudding, isn't it?
Yeah, and these are obviously I've gone. These are not. We sell lots of properties all the time. Like Colin sold one with another agent. This is not everything that's been sold, but it just gives you a good idea of how quickly things are moving. That last property again was up for 520, and they had to secure that property. I think they were the first people to see it. It was only on the market for 3 days. If they wanted that property, they had to go in at nearly asking price, not far away from it anyway.
Yeah, and again, it does highlight that if you're considering buying, there's no better place to go than Welcome Estates. You need to get in touch with the team ASAP to find your dream property. And They can actually meet you. Actually, people from England can actually meet you very soon. Next week, they can meet you because you guys are coming
to
to
the NEC, yes.
rainy England. Tell us about this whilst we've got you. Tell us about this.
I'm just looking forward to getting out the heat, Aki. I just can't wait.
Well, we'll gladly swap. We'll do a house swap anytime you like.
I'm just looking forward to getting off that plane in the UK and thinking, oh, it's lovely and cool here for a little bit. And then,
well, we're not going to disappoint you.
Well, we've done it again, though. We've done it again, boys. We said we was going to do, I don't know what we find to talk about, but we said we was going to do a quick one because I'm like up to here at the minute with printing properties and sorting pens out and bags out and all this. So we said we're going to do a quick podcast. We didn't want to not do one, and we thought this was such a great topic, but it's a little bit different. But I'm just looking at the timer, 51 minutes we've been talking again.
It's flown by. But yeah, I mean, it's been good to actually go through those properties to see some live case studies. It's also good that you're coming to see us soon, and people are going to get a chance to meet you. I believe these are always well attended.
Yeah,
and
we fly into Birmingham on Thursday. The show is on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But because we're so busy here in Spain at the minute, we're actually on a flight back on Sunday night. Actually, because I'm taking most of the sales team with me to England because I really think that that's the best place for that connection at the beginning rather than being past. Colin will speak to people who will then take all the way through the journey, and the same with the rest of the sales team. So we're all going to be there back on Sunday. We have a bit, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Have you heard about what's going on our stand in Birmingham?
Yes. Chris told me, yeah, and I think people are going to have fun. See, you're going to stand out again, aren't you? Because people are going to come, not just for some property talk, but for a good time as well.
Yeah, but it's a good icebreaker, isn't it, to get to know people. So we've got a fun little activity on the stand in Birmingham. We'll let you know how it goes after.
Yeah, we won't tell you now because if you want to know what it is, you have to go and visit.
Always got sweets as well.
Oh yeah. Always got sweets on there. Yeah, but we're looking forward to it. We've got 2 shows coming up soon, Birmingham and Dublin, and we really enjoy them. Not just for the food and drink and the cold weather. We actually love meeting people right from the beginning. I think last month, two clients were from shows on our first year we ever did the shows, and they were back in 2022.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we hope you've enjoyed that. Slightly different this time round, looking at 9 properties and some case studies behind them. Don't forget the viewing trips that are on offer from Welcome Estates. If you're interested, get in touch quickly. You've heard how quickly properties go, and the viewing trips are the best way to come and see properties in the flesh. All right, guys, thank you very much. Perfect timing by the sounds of it, because that alarm's just gone off, hasn't it, in the background? And we'll see you next time.
I think it was my phone ringing. I don't know what happened. Then it's silent. As everyone knows, this is live. Did you see me get up halfway through? That's because everybody in the office.
We couldn't miss it.
That was because everybody in the office was finishing. They must have forgot I'm in here, turned all the lights off, and went out to go and turn the lights.
See, guys, we bring you real life. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure catching up with you guys. Thanks for tuning into the Welcome Estates Costa Blanca Property Podcast. Welcome to the sun, as we call it, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.